Ayan, Mimo, and the historical quest with George Washington. One crisp autumn day, 5-year-old Ayan was playing with his beloved cat, Mimo, in his backyard. The wind whispered through the trees, and the leaves crunched beneath their feet. Ayan loved to imagine he was a time traveler, visiting different eras and meeting famous people from the past. Today, however, was going to be unlike any other day. Ayan was about to embark on a real historical adventure. As Ayan and Mimo played near the old oak tree at the edge of the yard, they noticed something strange. A shimmering light began to glow from the base of the tree, and before Ayan could react, the light enveloped him and Mimo, pulling them into a swirling vortex. The world spun around them, and when the spinning stopped, they found themselves standing in a dense forest, unlike anything Ayan had ever seen. In the distance, they could hear the sounds of horses, footsteps, and people speaking in hushed tones. Ayan recognized the uniforms, soldiers in blue coats, just like the ones he'd seen in history books about the American Revolution. "Ayan, are we in the past?" Mimo seemed to ask with a curious meow, his big round eyes scanning the unfamiliar surroundings. Just then, a tall figure on horseback approached them. He had a dignified presence, with a tricorn hat and a commanding look in his eyes. Ayan's heart skipped a beat as he realized who it was: George Washington, the very first president of the United States and the leader of the Continental Army. "Hello there, young traveler," Washington greeted them with a kind smile. "You seem far from home. What brings you to this camp?" Ayan, still in awe, managed to speak. "I'm Ayan, and this is Mimo. We were just playing in our backyard when we somehow ended up here." "Are you really George Washington?" The great leader chuckled warmly. "Indeed, I am. And you've arrived at a crucial time. We are planning a surprise attack on the British forces, but we could use some help. How would you like to join us on a historical quest?" Ayan's eyes lit up. "I'd love to. But I'm just a kid, what can I do to help?" Washington leaned down and patted Mimo, who purred contentedly. "Sometimes, the smallest and bravest among us can make the biggest difference. We need someone to deliver an important message to one of our outposts. It's a secret mission, and you and Mimo might be just the ones to do it." Ayan nodded eagerly. "We'll do it. Right, Mimo?" Mimo responded with a determined meow, ready for the adventure. Washington handed Ayan a sealed letter, giving him directions to a hidden outpost deep in the forest. With Mimo by his side, Ayan set off on the mission. The forest was dense, and the path was tricky to navigate, but Ayan was determined to complete the task. Along the way, they encountered a group of British soldiers who were patrolling the area. Ayan quickly hid behind a tree, holding Mimo close to keep him quiet. Mimo, sensing the tension, stayed perfectly still, his ears twitching as the soldiers passed by. When the coast was clear, Ayan breathed a sigh of relief and continued on his way. After what felt like hours of trekking through the forest, they finally reached the outpost. Ayan handed the letter to the soldier in charge, who thanked him and quickly sent a rider to deliver the message to General Washington. As Ayan and Mimo began to make their way back, the forest around them shimmered once more, and the familiar swirling vortex reappeared. In the blink of an eye, they were back in their backyard, just as the sun was beginning to set. Ayan looked around, wondering if it had all been a dream. But in his hand, he still held a small keepsake, a button from George Washington's uniform, a token of gratitude from the great leader himself.